all third-party applications can provide results. In the future, you'd have a setting panel to configure that, which applications you want to let people to have shown in the search, in what order, everything.
So it's similar to the Spotlight on Mac?
Kinda. I don't know how Spotlight really works, but the idea is similar. And it's similar to what you have on most phones. I mean, that's what I have on my Palm Pre, that's what I've seen on some Android, on iPhones. Well, I think that's what people expect from a modern environment, to be able to access everything really fast.
Yes, really hard.
And that's really, really working great. There have been many improvements to the search in 3.6, and there will be much, much more in 3.8. The part about choosing in the settings which provider can provide results, about which order, that's all coming for 3.8. GNOME is an international environment. As I was telling at the previously, it tries to be inclusive. You can use it no matter your language. That's the quick screenshot that I hacked together of the translation, the interface that contributors use when they want to help translate GNOME. To show a bit the languages that are available, well, Spanish for 3.6 is the most translated one. The interface translated at 100%, the documentation is 89. I don't know if you can read from there. French, for me, it's quite well translated. 99% interface, documentation even better. What you're probably all more interesting here is Chinese. As you can see, for the 3 languages of Chinese, Taiwan, Hong Kong, which are translated together because it's all traditional Chinese, and are 99% translated, which is quite good. If you want to make that 1% missing, you can go ahead and join GNOME. Please do. Mainland Chinese, 96% for the simplified Chinese. The documentations are really lacking for traditional Chinese. If you guys want to join, that's really the area where you can make a big difference. The documentation for the user documentation, the developer documentation, in traditional Chinese are translated at 2%. That's really bad. So if you guys want to chime in, go ahead. For Mart, I added Dutch to give a bit of context. I mean, 2%? No, 1% the documentation, 80% the interface. I think people expect Europe and the US to be much stronger in open source, to have stronger communities that will happen in Hong Kong. I just wanted to give a bit of context with 2 European languages that have people in the room that, well, I'm sorry, Kushik, I forgot Indian. I didn't know which Indian you use. So yeah, I mean, Chinese is really well translated, even better than some European countries. So that's good. Work on the documentation.
The Dutch concepts for computing are horrific.
Yeah.
Like there is very few Dutch people who actually choose to have like an interface in Dutch.
It's, people use it in English?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, I use it in English.
Yeah.
I don't use it in French. And to give a bit of context, I added this language is the last in the list of the languages of GNOME. Is the most recently added. Is the one that is the most poorly translated. As you can see, there are 2 messages that are translated. Hello, please have a seat. There are two messages that are translated in the whole of GNOME. That's out of 41,252.
What is
it's Central Nahuatl. It's a regional language from Mexico, which probably a few people speak in a village. But there was one person who decided it would be nice to translate GNOME in that language. He has time. He said, "Hey, I'm going to do it. Why not?" Yeah. And so what's interesting, it shows it's the language number 152. So GNOME is translatable in 152 languages at least. It's not completely translated in all of them. But, I mean, as long as somebody wants to go ahead and start translating GNOME, they're welcome to do so, even for exotic languages that 10 people in the world can speak. That's all right. I mean, that's a way of preserving their cultural heritage, which is a good thing too. If those can participate in that, why not? Again, documentation. Please work on it. I can't do anything for Chinese. I don't write it. I don't read it. But That's really an area that where Chinese people can make a strong difference very quickly. Still in the international environment, well, the interface of GNOME is translated. You can see the menus, everything is written in Chinese. That's a new thing for GNOME 3.6, the integration with input methods. And I think that's a major milestone for GNOME, because before that, when you wanted to input Chinese, to input Indian, to input Japanese, all those complex languages that you can't just type on your keyboard and whatever is written on the symbols of the keys will appear on your screen. You need input methods. Before GNOME 3.6, you had to go through the IBus setup UIs, which are terrible. And it was completely not integrated. It felt really like it was outside of it. You had to do that in addition to GNOME. GNOME wanted to be inclusive to everybody, wanted to include you guys who need to input Chinese. And with GNOME 3.6, GNOME finally integrates that. And I think it's really an effort to consider everybody as first-class citizens. You want to input complex languages, you need input methods. There, it's possible straight away, out of the box in GNOME. If you want, later on I can make a quick demonstration on how to set up Chinese. It's really, really trivial. My girlfriend has no idea about Linux. She's never used it before. She only knows Windows 7, and it came pre-set up to input Chinese. She tried it. She went in she found the settings. Once she had found the settings by herself, she found she added quick, and there in 2 minutes she was inputting Chinese. So that's really, really, really a great thing. There are many problems that we know of already. For example, ZH is not that great. It would be nice to have a Chinese character representing Tianjie or quick. In the list of suggestions, there are simplified and traditional Chinese characters when, well, it would probably be nicer to have a filter and say, I only want the traditional Chinese characters. There are many, many things that can be improved and that we will be working on for 3.8. But 3.6 is really a major milestone. It says, you're welcome to use GNOME. You can